Then you have is s square 3s square, so that will be 6s and plus 2. This is equal to 0. You can expand this. This is going to come out to be s cube plus 3s square plus 2s. This. Okay, so if you were to solve this, then your s will come out to be minus 6 plus minus 36 minus 4 AC, which is 24 divided by 6. What are the values, if anybody can tell me? So this is minus 6 plus minus 6 and 6, 12, root 12 divided by 6. What are these values? Calculator लो और बताओ.
Sir, minus 1.577 or minus 0.422.
So you get minus 0.422 and minus 1.577,
77.
right? So now you get two values of s. Now, if you go back to your root locus, you will see that minus 0.422 lies between 0 and minus 1, and that is a valid region where root locus will be. The second value lies between minus 1 and 2, and we know that there is no root locus in this region. No section of root locus lies in this region. That means we are going to, cancel out this point. So this doesn't exist. So this point is not going to be considered, and this point is going to be considered. So we know that now a root locus will break away at this point, which is basically denoted by value as minus 0.422. Okay, the second one is not, because it lies in this region from minus 1 to minus 2, and that is not a part of root locus. So we'll just kind of let it be neglected. Okay, so now, so they come together and then they kind of, tend to move like this. Okay. The other part, one could argue that why is it that they're not moving like this? Somebody could say that, they should probably move like this. But can anybody tell me why they're not moving like this in this case? You understand the question? I'm asking, why is it that the root locus is not moving like this from these points?
Sir, we have already calculated the asymptotes and we need it.
So we have already calculated the asymptotes. So at larger points away from the real axis, they must tend to approach the asymptote. So that is why this curve that I've made, dotted curve, will not exist, because for this dotted curve the asymptotes have to be like this, and that is not the case. So this one will not exist. Okay, so thank you. So that is the reason why, and I should probably make this line something like this. It should go like this. So it should go something like this. It will be curved, but I should show it approaching to this. Yeah. So now this is something. There's another important discussion that I want to have is, what does these points represent? I will have it in a while, but we have to talk about what these points represent. So these points are those points at which the root lies on the imaginary axis. So these are the limit up to which the system is going to be stable, because the minute you move towards the other side, you are on the right hand side, and then there is trouble, because if the roots move to the right hand side, and here the roots are basically your poles, then we have a problem. Okay, and the system is unstable. So these are the limiting points up to which the system is going to be stable, and they will correspond to some value of k. They will correspond to some value of k, and I told you that these values of k are going to be evaluated using Routh-Hurwitz criteria or the method. So we'll come to that in a while, but we are still having a discussion on the breakaway points. So I hope that the breakaway thing is clear from here, and this is one of the cases that we have to study, which is case 1. Okay, so now they will move to infinity from here. There's just no stopping them. There is no other way that they can move. There is no other place they can move. So they will move to infinity. Can anybody tell me what would be the value of k at the breakaway point? What is the value of k? So all you need to do is you need to just put s equal to that value here in this equation, and you will get the value of k. So if anybody can tell me what is the value of k. So it should be just substituting -422 in this equation here, and you can just tell me what will be the value of k. बता दो.
1 second, sir.
Sir, 0.38 minus 0.384.
माइनस नहीं होगी, प्लस होगी, because if you put s equal to -0.422, this minus
Okay, yes sir, फिर plus हो जाएगा.
plus हो जाएगा ना. So that means k at s equal to minus 0.422, that value comes out to be 385. Okay, so we are only going to be interested about and see, for any value of s greater than 0, that means s is a positive quantity, this is going to be a positive number, this is going to be a positive number, this is going to be a positive number. So eventually you'll get a large negative value of k. So it will be obviously less than this value. So till now you can see k starts from 0 at these points, and at this point you get a value of k equal to 385. Please remember this value, because we're going to evaluate another interesting value of k, which happens to be here, and let's see what those values will come, but in a while. But I want to just tell you that the value of k that you obtain here at the breakaway point in this case happens to be the maximum value of k. So we'll come back to that, but just remember this value that we evaluated it to be 0.385. Okay. Now, so this was one of the cases for root locus that I wanted to discuss, where you start from the real axis and you move to the complex plane. There is another problem that I want to discuss, which represents case 2. Suppose I say that there is a characteristic equation which is given by 1 plus k s plus 2 divided by s square plus 2s plus 2, okay, equals 0. This is a unity feedback system again. Okay, so that means it is basically 1 plus g. So 1 plus g equal to 0, this becomes. So basically, you have two poles which happen to be complex, and the values of those two poles is -2 plus minus 4 minus 8 divided by 2. So that comes out to be -1 plus minus j. Okay, so these are your poles. And because they are on the complex plane, they happen to be complex conjugate also. And the number of them is 2. So that means your n is 2. Then, so these are for poles. Then let's come to zeros. Zeros is simple. There is one 0 which is at s equal to -2. So this is 0. And your m happens to be 1. Right? So if you kind of, make a diagram of S plane. So you have one pole here and you have one pole here, and then you have a 0 here at -2. So this is your -1, maybe not equal in proportion. It seems that -2 is further away, but let's say that this is -1. Okay. So this is the scenario. Now, based on a discussion, we know that in this case, so in this case, we have two branches that will start from k equal to 0, which means the open loop poles, sorry. And those two branches happen to be this, and they'll start from this. Then we also know that out of the two branches, well, one branch has to terminate at 2, and the other branch has to go to infinity because there is a 0. So that means we know that there are two branches. Because n is 2. Because n is 2. One branch will terminate at 0. Because, I mean, that's how it works, which represents k equal to infinity. So this point represents k equal to infinity. Second branch, other branch, will terminate at infinity. Okay, so we know that the root locus will start from these points here. Okay, so how do you think the root locus can move? The first thing that we have to do is that we have to find out where is the breakaway point. Let's look at where the breakaway point is. Okay, so where do you think, how do we proceed for breakaway point? Let me just add a couple of slides. So you have, just a second. So you have 1 plus k s plus 2 over s square plus 2s plus 2. Okay, so this was equal to 0. So if you evaluate your k, then that comes out to be minus s square plus 2s plus 2 divided by s plus 2. Okay. So now please tell me, if I put dk by ds equal to 0, what is the value of s that I'm getting? What are the values of s that I'm getting? Evaluate karo isko aur bata. I'll just do a little bit of it. So minus sign here, you get s plus 2 multiplied by 2s plus 2 minus s square 2s plus 2 divided by s plus 2 whole square, and this equals 0. So you're only left with so this becomes 2s square plus 2s plus 4s plus 4 minus s square plus 2s plus 2 equals 0, right? So you get s square, so 1 2s and 1 2s, so you get 4s plus 2 equals 0. So that means your s is minus 4 plus minus under root 16 minus 8 divided by 2. This is minus 4 plus minus 2 root 2 divided by 2. Please tell me the values of s now. You should get two values. Just tell me what are those two values of s.
Sir, minus 3.414 and minus 0.585.
दोबारा बोलो.
Sir, minus 3.414
414
and minus 0.5857.
5857. Okay. Now you again get two values. Okay. We have to figure out which value to take and which value to not take. Okay. Let's go here to the. How will you decide which value to take and which value not to take? These are values on the real axis. So how do you think you will decide which value to take and which value not to take? Can anybody tell me?
So one of these has to end at minus infinity, right?
One of the branches, but the question right now is which value from these two values that we evaluated will represent a breakaway point, which will be true to this particular problem. The other one has to be obviously neglected. So my question is, how will you figure out which of these values you will accept and which of the values you will reject? That is my question. And this is the root locus. This is basically the pole zero diagram. We have not made the root locus right now, but this is the pole zero diagram. So that is the question.
So we can check that at that point is root. So by checking that odd number of roots and poles are there.
Yeah. So basically, we need to first find out what are the regions on the real axis where the root locus actually lies. That is the question. So if you look at the real axis, then you can clearly demarcate three regions. One is of course this region. the second is this region, and the third is this region. So we have to first find out, do these regions on the real axis are a part of root locus or not? So let's go about it. So if you look at this region to the left of -2, so how many number of poles and zeros lie to the right of this region?
1.
No, 3.
But
There
there
is-
is real axis.
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, okay, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, real axis. So there is just 1, right? And what happened, what is 1? 1 is odd. So this region lies, right? This region lies. What about this region here? Between minus
0.
1 and 0.
0.
What about -1 and the rest of the region? Nothing. So the only region that lies on the root locus on the real axis happens to be to the left of -2. So that means there's an interesting thing here. So that means that the branches are going to somewhat move around here. So now, okay, so you know this, that this is the region. This is the region that lies in the root locus. So I'm just going to erase the regions that do not lie in the root locus. So this is the region that lies in the root locus. So if this is the region that lies in the root locus, which value of S will satisfy for breakaway point? It is this value. This is the value that satisfies, and this is the value that does not satisfy. Because if you look at it, minus 0.5857, it lies somewhere here, right? So obviously that is not a part of the root locus. So we neglect that, or we reject it, not neglect it, we reject it. And the value for breakaway point happens to be somewhere here now. And that value happens to be minus 3.414. So that is minus, sorry, 3.414 minus, okay. So this is the value for, this is the breakaway point. So now what will happen is that somehow I'm drawing a curve. I'll tell you why I drew it that way. Somehow you will have a curve that will go like this. And because you also know that the root locus is symmetrical about this real axis, the other one will also go like this. I'm removing this k equal to infinity because you already know, so I'm just not writing them anymore. Okay, and I'm also making it slightly more symmetrical somewhere here. So the curve is going to go like this. We'll talk a little bit about the shape of the curve in a while, but this is how the root locus will move. It will come to this breakaway point. Here, 3.414, okay. And then when it comes to this breakaway point, then now there are two branches that are coming to this point. One is from the top and the other is from the bottom. And one of the branches must go to the 0. So we'll just make like this. And the other branch must go to the value infinity. So this is basically how the root locus looks like for this problem. Now, the question is, there's another question in this graph. The question is, I hope that till now we are clear with how we are proceeding with things, okay? So we, found out how many branches, how many zeros, how many poles. Then we found out how many branches will terminate at zeros, how many branches will terminate at infinity. Then we found out, okay, what are the regions on the real axis where the root locus lies, so we could find that out. Then we evaluated some breakaway points if there are any, and we found out that there are two, so one got rejected because that point doesn't lie on the root locus, the other one does. And then I made this graph. Now, if you look at the graph that starts from these poles, the question that comes to our mind is that why is it that you made the graph go like this? Why did you not make the graph go like this? Like for example, if this was this, and this was your breakaway point somewhere here. Why did you not make your graph, go like this? Why is it that let me just say that why is it that the graph is at this angle? Why is it that the graph is at this angle and not at any other angle? That is the question. So basically, if you look at it, I am drawing a graph which goes at a certain angle with respect to the imaginary axis, right? So this is something that we are going to, now look into what is this angle and how we evaluate this angle. So basically, the discussion now is, so before we move to this discussion, of course, it's a part of this topic only, but we have considered these two cases. In one case, the breakaway point is on the real axis and the root locus is moving out on the complex plane. The second is that the root locus starts from some place in the complex plane, but it comes to the breakaway point on the real axis. So we have considered these two cases. One happens to be this, case 1, and the other happens to be this, which is case 2. So now, in continuation with case 2, we also have to find out at what angle will the root locus actually move out of the poles, and what angle. Sometimes what will happen is that you will have complex zeros, so root locus will come and terminate at those zeros. So at what angle will it come and terminate at those zeros? Those are the things that we need to evaluate. So now the discussion is that the directions of the root locus from poles and zeros, primarily on the complex plane. So there are two cases. One is you will have to evaluate angle of departure. From open loop pole. Just in this case, you had an open loop pole and the root locus is going to depart from this, means it will move out from this. So we have to evaluate the angle of departure. So this happens to be the angle of departure. Okay. Second is angle of arrival to an open loop 0. Suppose instead of a pole here, you would have had some zeros here. Then the root locus would have come to these points, right? So either it would come straight, or it will go like this, or it will come like this, or it will go like this, or whatever. You have to find out at what angle the root locus arrives at zeros. So those are the things that we are going to evaluate. So let me call this 1 and let me call this 2. So basically the formula is this. So for 1, phi pole is basically 180 degree plus minus 2q plus 1 plus phi. I will tell you what phi is. And q of course varies from 0, 1, 2. That is how it is. And second is, the formula is phi z, sorry. I should call it z because you're calculating it for zeros. Is plus minus 180 degrees to q plus 1 minus phi. And q varies from 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on. So the important question here is, what exactly is phi? So let me just define what phi is. Everything else is okay. Q is just a number, 180 degrees, okay. This is the angle of departure, this is the angle of arrival. But what is phi? So phi in both the equation is the same thing, and it means the net angle contribution net angle contribution at the pole or zero under consideration by all other, I must write, poles and zeros. That means we'll find out what is the angle that all other poles and zeros are making with respect to this point where that particular pole or zero is kept, from where we are evaluating the arrival and departure. So let's take up an example so that this becomes much more clearer. Okay. And it's like one could say that this is, you could say that phi could also be written as, let me just give you a much simpler way to look at it. So you will just say that it is all theta zeros minus all theta poles which are not part, which are other than those at which you're evaluating the angle of departure or arrival. So let's take a small example. In our case only, we'll consider only our case that we have just covered so far. The thing was, you had a point here and you had a point here. Okay. So this was the case, right? This is the point in this. So that means that this value is -1 and you have a 0 here at -2. So we are evaluating phi for this, and then once you evaluate the angle for one, the other is just going to be minus of that, so you don't really need to evaluate. So it's better to evaluate it for the one that lies on the positive part of the along the, so evaluating where you have the positive imaginary part, that's much easier to evaluate now. So if I want to know what is the angle that -2 line, so you make it like this. What is this angle that this is subtending? This angle. Can anybody tell me? This is the pole under consideration, this one.
45 degrees.
It is 45 degrees because you can see that this length is 1. From -1 to -2, this length is 1. And this point was basically your J1, right? And this point is -J1. So here, this distance is also 1. So 1 divided by 1 is 45. So this angle is 45. So I'll say that this angle is 45. Now let me make this line. So what is the angle that this is making with respect to the pole we are considering at the top? What is this angle that this pole is making with respect to this pole?
90 degrees.
90 degrees. It is 90 degrees. So that means, and there is no other pole or zeros, right? So एक ये pole, एक ये zero था और एक ये pole था और ये वाला तो under consideration ही था. So in this case, your phi comes out to be basically 45 because that is by a zero. The theta z is 45 minus 90. So that value comes out to be minus 45. So now angle of departure from the pole, because you're considering the top one, we'll just consider 180. Q is 0 minus 45. So that comes out to be 135 degrees. So that means so if you are here and this is the horizontal line, that means that the root locus will depart from this pole at an angle of 135, which is this. So let's say let me just make it bigger so that you can see it better. Just a second. So we are doing something like this. So angle of departure. So let's make it this. We are obviously calculating the angle from the horizontal line. So so this is like 180 line. So 135 will be somewhere till this point here. So let's say that 135 is this. So that means at an angle of 135 degree, the root locus will depart. So obviously root locus departs like this. And that is what we have made over here. The root locus departs like this. So if this is the case for this, then if you have something here, and if you create like this, the root locus has to depart like this. Because then this angle is going to be minus 135. So that is how it goes. And you can evaluate it for other problems also you can evaluate. All right, we're definitely going to do problems in which you'll have to evaluate angle of departures and angle of arrivals. So that will give you an idea. And if we cannot cover it in the class tomorrow, then I'm going to put up a video for it. So you don't need to worry, you'll consider all those cases. Okay, so there is just one more discussion that I need to have, and I think probably I'll just not have it today. I'll have it tomorrow because you've already done quite a bit. And that is, we need to look into these aspects about, what happens here and what happens here. This is what we need to. We have to evaluate the value of k at what values of k will correspond to those points on the root locus that are on the imaginary axis. You already know the significance of these. You cannot go beyond these values of k. That is what it is. Okay. So anyways, so this is what it is. And I think we'll end the class here today. I'm going to see you tomorrow.
Sir,
Yes.
sir, I have a request because here is some electricity issue. So can you repeat again small bit part of intro?
Intro means starting from where I started the lecture.
Yes, sir. I think page 2 and example 1 I missed.
Acha, okay. So others can leave if they wish to leave, because I've already finished the class. So the others can leave. And I think Manali, right? Manali can stay. And if there are others who also wish to hear it again, they can.
Yes, sir.
They can, others can just leave. So that's okay. Okay. So Manali, the thing is, so we started with certain aspects of root locus. The one aspect is breakaway points, and I wanted to discuss this in detail. So we know that these breakaway points, they lie on the real axis, and there are two possibilities. One is that these points are on the real axis, from where the root locus moves away from real axis to the complex plane. And the second case is that the root locus is in the complex plane, and from there it comes and it falls on the real axis from the breakaway points. That means something like this. So you are already on the real axis because these are your zeros. Sorry, these are your poles, -1 and 0. And you are on the real axis and you break, and this point represents the breakaway point, and then you move out to the complex plane. So that is one case, which is this case number 1. Case number 2 is you are somewhere in the complex plane because your poles are here in the complex plane, and then you come to the real axis. So this is case 2. So we were to consider these two cases. So I just took an example. I said let the system be defined by the characteristic equation 1 plus k over s plus s plus 1 plus s plus 2, and h was 1 because it's a unity feedback. So we know that, characteristic equation, which is also represented by delta s, is 1 plus g. So open loop poles obviously become s equal to 0, -1 and -2, and they are 3 in number, so n becomes 3. Open loop zeros, there are no zeros in this problem because g is basically k over s into s plus 1 into s plus 2. So there are no zeros, so m is 0, right? So the number of branches equals the number of open loop poles, which is n, so that is 3. All the branches that terminate at infinity, all the branches will terminate at infinity because there are no zeros. Generally, a branch starts from an open loop pole and it terminates either at an open loop 0 or at infinity. So there are no open loop zeros. So the branch or the branches will terminate at infinity. Okay, so this is what it is. And then I created this graph, and then I also evaluated in which region the root locus will lie. So there are basically 2 regions in which the root locus lies. Root locus will lie in this region, which is already marked by the highlighter because you have three poles on the real axis, and 3 happens to be an odd number. That's why it lies. If you look at -1 and -2 region, then obviously the root locus doesn't lie here because to the right of this point you have only 2 poles, right? And 2 happens to be an even number. Then if you come to this region, and this region also lies in the root locus because to the right of this region the number of poles is 0, is 1, right? 1 is odd, so that means this region lies. From -2, then we evaluated the asymptotes. The angles of the asymptotes we evaluated, they came out to be 60 degree, 180 degree, 300 degree, which is based on the formula that we had done last time. We also evaluated where these asymptotes are going to intersect on the real axis, and that is given by this formula that I have written over here. Sigma, which is summation of the real parts of poles minus summation of the real parts of zeros divided by n minus n. So if you look at all the poles, the real parts are 0, -1 and -2 for those poles. So I put it in the formula. There are no zeros. So if I put it in the formula, I get the value of sigma to be -1. So that means they all intersect at this point, -1. So I created these asymptotes, which are these lines given by, I don't know what is the color of this pen, but these are the lines, right? So one is at 60 degree, one is at 180 degree, the other is at, I've represented it by -60, it means fundamentally 300. Right, because anti-clockwise is positive, clockwise is negative. So one branch obviously moves away from -2 and goes to infinity. So this is taken care of. The other 2 branches have no other way but to move towards each other from the other poles. So they will somewhat break here on the breakaway point. How we evaluate this breakaway point? We evaluate this breakaway point by doing dk by ds equal to 0. So that is what I did. And I found out 2 values of breakaway points. One is -422, the other is -1.577. But if we look at the root locus, which value? -1.577 lies in this region between -1 and -2. And your root locus cannot lie in this region because there is no part of the root locus that lies in this region. So that value is rejected, and the other value is taken, which is what is the value? -422. So this is where it breaks. So it breaks and it moves away. Now the question is, why is it that it is moving like this only? Like, from this point, I made this point like this. I've made it like this, the root locus goes like this. But why is it the root locus is not going like this? The reason is that the asymptotes are made at such angles that the root locus, if goes like this, will intersect asymptotes, and root locus cannot intersect asymptotes. Root locus will intersect asymptotes at k equal to infinity, which means at far away points. That is why the region is going to go like this, and it will go like this. So that is what the discussion was all about. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. All right then. I'll see you tomorrow then, Manali. Bye bye. Take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Bye.